Today's Travel Dialogues episode is held virtually, and I'm pleased to have with me Mr. Balwin Yeung, Senior Vice President Commercial at Regal Hotels. Thank you for being with me, first of all.
Thank you, Fido, for inviting me. I'm very glad to be here.
So you are now in Hong Kong, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am in Hong Kong.
And I'm in Europe, in Greece, so long distance, but the technology brings us closer.
Yes, yes.
So Hong Kong, as I know, is seeing strong visitor growth again. How is this momentum shaping Regal Hotels' commercial priorities for 2026?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think 2025 so far has been a good year for Hong Kong and for us. We do see quite a strong growth. When the tourism board announced the arrival, it always include also the day trip between China and Hong Kong. But as a hotelier, sometimes we don't look at the non-overnight, right? Because all we care is the overnight arrivals. And even if you look sharply at the overnight arrivals, for the first 9 months, they are recording, a pretty, it's a good growth. It's about 5% when you come to the overnight. Now about around 4%, something like that. And consider the base is actually quite strong. However, the spending has never gone up to the pre-COVID level, and so are the rates. So, and to be honest, I think that is because of the mix of geographical visitors, and also the due to the mix of the segments also. So although we are seeing an upward trend now, but for most part of earlier 2025 and the second part of 2024, basically is dominated by the mainland Chinese visitors, followed by the Southeast Asians. Most of them are leisure, and we don't see as many or as much, Western travelers and also people coming here for business and for MICE. We do see a turnaround in the second half 2025. So the second part of the year has been pretty good for us. And when we look into what we call the on book for the remaining 12 months, is looking great. So basically, the second half of 2025 has been good. Hong Kong Tourism Board has been very, very active. If you look at the website and look at all the information they have been with, of course, along with the government, they brought in a lot of mega events. Some are more familiar, like the Wine and Dine, the national game, from China. But other than that, there are a lot of different concerts, regional stars that are very, very famous, and that attract a lot of visitors just to fly into Hong Kong, just to enjoy their concerts and their performance. So it has been a very, very busy second half of the year. Now, we foresee the momentum will continue as we enter 2026. We think the year will continue to be good, still dominated, number one, of course, by the mainland Chinese, followed by the Asian countries, mainly the Philippines, the Koreans, the Malaysians, the Indians, the Indonesians, etc., etc. Japanese not as much, but still remain as a substantial figure. And we hopefully will see more people from the West, namely Europe, US, and Australia and Middle East coming back.
Why do you think you see less traffic from Europe or US? Is this probably because of the cost of the flight tickets, the connections? What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, I think as a destination, Hong Kong still remains attractive, especially to the Western world because they really see Hong Kong quite unique. It's not Singapore, it's not China, but it's something really in between, a melting pot between the West and the East. You can have the best Italian, French, even Indian food in Hong Kong. And yet, of course, you can have the best dim sum, right? And the barbecue pork, etc., right? Sometimes,
Confirmed.
it's still considered as the best, uncomparable by, some restaurants in Singapore, even in mainland China, so or Taiwan. So it's, so I think as a destination, it's still very, very attractive. Like you said, I think the problem is really what we call the airlift. People need a plane or need a flight to fly in,
Yeah.
but if there are decrease in capacity, especially between Europe and Hong Kong, and to a certain degree US and Hong Kong, and 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 with that reduction, the airfare has gone up so much that either for business or leisure, people would think, why don't we choose another destination for either leisure purpose or business purposes? If it's a meeting, why don't we host it somewhere else and reconsider Hong Kong in another year when the flying time is not as long and when the fare is not as high? So that caused the shift in what we call the geo mix. That's why the shorter, what we call the shorter hauls traffic has been increasing because there's no impact on that one. So that's really, I will say for 2026 there will be a bit of increase, but I don't see a significant shift yet.
Okay.
I think there will be more MICE coming back only because Hong Kong remains attractive and as a gateway to China and Macau. Now, a lot of people don't just come to Hong Kong alone these days, unlike 20 years ago. And as a Hong Konger, we have to admit that, we have to sell Macau and we have to sell Shenzhen and Guangzhou and Shanghai as one package. We have to admit and understand and accept that. So I think for next year you will see a bit more MICE. People do want to come to Hong Kong because if you look at the hotel rates, we're not, to be honest, we are not back to the pre-COVID level. We love to do that. We love to be there, but we're not there yet. But if you look at places like a lot of the Southeast Asian countries is totally back to pre-COVID. Places like Japan, places like Singapore. I mean, even I was in Taiwan last week, and I was talking to some of my hotelier friends, my industry peers, and they said, "Oh, we have already gone back to pre-COVID." So, so Hong Kong, I think it's one of the few that has still been struggling to reach the pre-COVID rates level. But of course, for Hong Kong, pre-COVID was very high. I have to say, people find Hong Kong not cheap. So, but from a business standpoint, what we charge is not really what we were charging, say 4 or 5 years ago, and that it's where we are. But in the face of the customer, it's value for money. So that's really where we are right now.
I understand. Hong
Yeah.
Kong, though, is still a business hub, for the region. And one of your hotels, Regala Sky City Hotel, was named the best business hotel in
Thank
Hong
you.
Kong. How
Yeah.
does this, I would like to ask you, how this recognition strengthen your position in the MICE market, and
Yeah.
especially with the direct link you have to the AsiaWorld-Expo?
Thank you, Theodore. I have to say, Well, first of all, Business Travelers is it's a very reputable publication, and as they've been running this and best that for many years. But I have to share with you, I was honestly and pleasantly surprised when we were informed that we are the best business hotel in Hong Kong. Not that we're not good, not that we're not good, and not that we are not one of the best, but when we are named best business hotel, to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised only because when people think of a business hotel, they think of a hotel that only cater for what we call the FIT, the frequent individual travelers, the bankers, the lawyers, the owners, etc., etc. Like places in Hong Kong, right, in the central district, where the financial district is, they think about the Mandarin, they think about the Four Seasons and the Shangri-La of the world. So when we were picked as the best business hotel, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised, but in a pleasant way, of course. Now, I think one of the reasons, and a few reasons why we won this award for a few reasons. Number one, we are the only hotel that is air condition connected, like a confined air condition connected to Asia World Expo. There's another hotel that is just as close. Like if you know the Asia World Expo, it's basically like a rectangle. It's quite a long piece of a building, but it's like a rectangle shape. Sorry. So to one side, connected, it's basically us. To the other side, it's another hotel, quite a famous international brand. Um, but with them, it's an open bridge. That means in a rainy day, you can actually get wet. Now, for us, because we were built much later, meaning we are pretty much a new hotel. It's 5 years old, and it's prime age. So it's when we build this hotel, it's totally connected, like a shopping mall. So from Asia World Expo walking to our hotel, it only takes 2 to 3 minutes. So you already have kind of an upper hand in terms of the hardware. And as and the Asia World Expo, it's kind of how do I say? It's not easy to be replaced. Replaceable
Replacement,
because
yes.
people talk about the high-tech sports park, which got a lot of attention. Okay, and there, you know the city and you know the places quite well. There are a lot of other new infrastructure that are getting the attention, but the Asia World Expo has its unique edge. Now, I give you just one quick example. First of all, it's next to the airport, so a lot of the bigger showcase, of big fixtures, it's always there. A lot of the fresh fruits and all that, things don't last. It's always there. And I give you one funny example. Like, the how popular the Korean pop stars are in Asia, and it's throughout the world. They will never go to the high-tech sports park for performance. They will never go to the one that we had for many years, the Colosseum, for concert. And I tell you why. Because those who go for the Korean pop star, they had to stand for all these hours. The most expensive tickets are actually standing, which is very contrary to the traditional concert, right? Usually you get the best seat, that's the most expensive tickets, right? But
Yeah.
for Korean pop star, actually the open space in front of the stage is the most expensive, because those young people, they dance for hours, as long as the star perform. So that's why this place, the Asia World Expo, is kind of it cannot be replaced. So whenever the more popular they are, the more business jet drive into us. So be it like a concert, be it a lot of the big exhibitions. Okay,
Right.
so we are the hotel for that. But it's not just the location. I think it's also our own hardware. We have 1,200 some rooms. Yeah, so it's built as a convention hotel. It's big. The proportion of twin beds is very high. So we understand the market. It was built. Uh, it was designed as a start as a convention hotel. So, I don't have the figures, but if you like, I can send you back some figures later, um, about the proportion of twin beds, etc. So, because in Asia communities, there's still a lot of people who share rooms. So 1,200 rooms, a good proportion of twin beds, and then you have an award-winning ballroom downstairs. I mean, I show you some of the pictures. We won an award, and it's not even a travel hotel award. It's a design award in London last year. We were named as the best design ballroom in the world. So you can see it's very contemporary, no pillar, or 4K, LED wall throughout the whole place. And in classroom style, it sits about 1,200 people.
That's big.
So it's big. We do Chinese, we do a lot of round tables. It can go up all the way to 70. So we can imagine, how big the ballroom is, so that's really the hardware and also the service. And then also you have to understand the area. Now, the the what do you call now, the pleasure, um it's a hot name. I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't know how many travelers would really have time to stay behind, but some do, because it's Hong Kong, and because, let's say, if I finish work on Friday, and if I'm in a place like Hong Kong, it's quite interesting. And if I'm from the West, I will probably stay behind for the weekend, since I'm here. Since I've been flying like 12, 14 hours, time flying, then might as well spend extra 1 or 2 days. So this pleasure kind of traffic becomes a bit popular, especially with a place like Hong Kong. So I think that also helps a little bit, because we're in a very, very interesting area, as you know, the Lantau Island. Next to it is the airport, but very close to it, the other side is basically the bridge that leads to Macau. Is the what do you call, the Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau Bridge. Basically, in 1 hour it gets you to Macau, and the ride is beautiful. There's Big Buddha, there's the cable car, and then hiking. There's a lot of hiking sites in Lantau Island, and hiking has become something very, very popular here. So I
So,
think that's really the reason.
so as I understand, this recognition, it may be unexpected, pleasantly unexpected, but I think that you have worked strategically towards that. And of course,
Thank
your
you.
location, it's helping a
Location,
lot.
I think the service, because we had a lot of events. So I think a lot of businessmen that came here, and it's not far. People think that Lantau Island is far, but when you think about it, the Hong Kong airport is only half an hour
Yeah.
to downtown. If you take the airport express train, even if you drive, it's about 45 minutes, and that's nothing. Even from in Singapore, from Chingy to downtown, it's about half an hour. So it's more or less the same anyway.
Tell me something. You have another hotel, the Regal Airport Hotel, and you
Right.
have a strategy, the twin powerhouse strategy between Regala Sky City and the Regal Airport Hotel.
Yes, yes.
How are these two hotels working together to support the large-scale meetings and events?
Sure, sure. Now, so the one in airport is called the Regal Airport.
Yeah,
The new one, the award-winning one is the Regala Sky City. The Regal, so we're very blessed. I had a very difficult job, Theater, because the airport hotel is 1,000 over 1,100. So in short, on average, I have 1,002 on one side and then the 1,002 on the other side. So at the airport, I have to sell close to 2,400 rooms every day. So it's not an easy job, but we are very, very blessed in terms of one connecting to the international airport. If you remember, we are the only hotel that is connected to the international airport. Now, the other hotels can call themselves an airport hotel, but you have to travel like, by car for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Then the Regala is connected to the Asia World Expo. So we have two hotels that connect directly to something very, very important. One is the airport, one is the Asia World Expo. Now, when we have mega events, so let's say in the Asia World Expo or at the airport, a lot of times one hotel is not enough. So we will, because it's run by one GM, one team, we will work seamlessly. We will have free shuttle service as frequent as they want. The airport we charge a little bit higher rate and have bigger rooms. So we will put the more senior, the executives, the VIP at the airport, and then maybe the regular staff.
How far are the two
Less
hotels?
than 5 minutes by coach.
Great.
So it's just
Okay.
next to each other. And at the airport, there's another ballroom which is just as big as the one at Regala. And it also sits 1,200. So we have two mega ballrooms, and then we have over 30 breakout rooms between the two hotels. So we are very ready and prepared, well positioned to take world events and by one company. So the billing in terms, these are the things that the organizers really care. I don't need to talk to two group of people, two different companies and two different invoices and two different payments. Here, yes, you guys are staying at different hotels and using different ballrooms and maybe having different food at different restaurants, but at the end it's one contract, one invoice, and one payment. And I think that it's really, I mean, to the meeting organizers, the less work, the merrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think and also technology. We can do what do you call that now? Live screen. If you have people and if you don't mind, having two venues and we can do live shows and because everything is connected. And when you're under one company, the conversation is easy. As if I'm working with the Marriott, then it's you know how it is. It's much
Yeah.
harder to make
Understand.
it as seamless as it is. So that's why we call it and we have pools at each side. The airport has a spa, so and then the Regala has a running track. So there are facilities that maybe one hotel has more and the one hotel has the other hotel has something else just to compensate it. So it's really what I call the powerhouse of the airport.
Great, great. But
Yeah.
another thing that the meeting planners now, meeting organizers, actually, they are very much interested nowadays in their carbon footprint. And when they
Right.
organize their events, they are looking a lot for sustainability. It's high on their agendas. And
Yeah.
you have a green meetings program, which is certified by the Hong Kong Quality Assurance Agency. So
Right.
it sounds to me very important. So how this program helping clients run more responsible events? But I have to show you that I'm also sustainable. And my coffee, you see, it's a metal
Yes.
and metal
I
cup.
noticed. I noticed. And I first of all, if you have some spare time, you might want to look up our vice chairman, the boss that I report to. She's the daughter of the chairman, and of course, she's also part of the owner. And her name is Pullman Low, Poman and Lo. If you look at her LinkedIn profile, Pullman Low, a lady, you will see she is one of the most, I would say, advocate uh, in sustainability and environmental advocate. Um, of course, she care about the hotel business, but she spent at least half of her time on sustainability and wellness. She's a firm believer in that. And the reason I tell you this is when you work for somebody who is genuinely um, care about the environment and care about sustainability, I mean, as a staff, you get influence. So what we do is truly authentic, is truly genuine. And I tell you how we do this green meetings, okay? Because you do have a lot of hotels and a lot of companies that use it for marketing purpose. Now, do we use it for marketing purpose? Yes, that I wouldn't deny. But when we design this, I can honestly tell you because she and I were kind of the one who built this program together, and I can tell you we really built it from the heart. Okay, we didn't think about how much business we will get, but we really want a program that is comprehensive and will really help the environment. So that is really what I want to tell you first. It was launched in November 2024. Okay. So the green meetings have three parts. And the first part, it's the carbon accounting report. Now, and we use the Hong Kong QAA as our third party. So it's basically our surveyor because we don't want to do it ourselves. We actually pay them and ask them as the consultant. And when we have a lead, when a meeting organizer call us, we already ask and say, would you like to be part of the green meetings? Now, if they say no, I don't want. Of course, we will explain what green meetings is. If they say I just want the regular meetings, don't bother. Then okay. But if they want the green meetings, we will start the consultancy right before they have the event. So we are not giving just the report, we are giving them the guidelines on how to have a low carbon emission meeting.
One quick question. You mentioned that you are asking the organizer, and I want to ask, I'm wondering, why do they need to have an option? I mean, it's not something that they should follow anyway. Does this affect the meeting package?
Yeah, because some companies don't want to be bothered, and they just don't want too much advice. And I tell you why. Because when we do the consultancy, we basically based on the seven framework from the what do you call the World United Nations.
Organization, yeah, the UN
Yes, you're familiar. So
sustainability target, yeah.
From transportation to logistic to backdrop to material use, we calculate we like because it's not the money, it's free of charge, but the meeting organizer have to provide, let's say out of a 500 people conference, how many people are taking the bus to the venue, and how many people are taking the MTR, we call the MTR the subway, and how many people are taking a private car, for example.
Mhm.
As you know, if you take a public transportation, the emission is much lower. So we are
Sure.
very serious about it. And as a meeting, or some hesitate to do all this collection of information. But for companies who are willing to, I tell you, it makes a world of difference because we tell them, hey, these are the alternatives to a hardboard backdrop. These are the alternatives to how you can ship the material. We can actually source that in Hong Kong. It's much cheaper. You don't have to fly all these things in and blah blah blah. So it's a lot of work for us, but it's a lot of work for the meeting organizers as well. But it's worth it because then we record everything and then we give them the report from Hong Kong QAA from the third party, how much emission they have burned throughout the event. So that's number one.
Can you give me some examples of what we are describing now?
I cannot name the companies, but we
No, not
have
companies, you know, the actions that you're taking.
yeah. So we will appoint a person. Let's say you are going to Regala. So the staff are being trained. We have a few kind of green meetings ambassadors, and then they will pick up the phone. And aside from the usual information that you would collect from a meeting or organizers, you know, the dates, the size, you know, the requirements of the room configuration, etc., etc. Then we will ask the nature of the event. Okay, do you need a backdrop? Do you need this? Do you need that? And then we'll base on that 7 criteria from United Nations, and we'll say, hey, these are our buys. You know, we can do a flower backdrop for you, like with plants. You don't really need a hard backdrop, or we'll do a LED. I'll show you some pictures and see if you like it. You know, we'll replace with fresh flowers or whatever. So these are the things, and then in the room, we'll say, look, if you want to cut down the emission, we'll take this away, take this away. Do you mind? The toothbrushes, etc. Now, if you don't, we still leave it. That means your accounting report is going to be just higher. That's all. You know, we'll set the air conditioning at 25 degrees, for example. But if you like it to be cool, then it's being also recorded. So, because a lot of people may not know the 7 criteria and how it, you know, how you can reduce the emission in under that 7 criteria. So that's where we will do the consultancy work. So basically the report is the before and after. So we don't leave the client alone and blind and then give them a report and say, oh my goodness, you have burned so much emission. Basically, it's more a consultancy and a report card. So that's the first part. Now, the second part, but that's also part of the report card, is the low carbon cooking menu. We call the green meetings menu. Now, a lot of people misunderstood green meetings menu or low carbon emission means vegetarian, especially for Asian. The first thing they want to say is, oh my goodness, you're ripping us off. You know, you just give me veggie and carrots and, you know, to eat. Then once they read the menu, then they realize there's no deep fried, but you still get your, you know, yes, we may not serve beef, we may serve fish, you know, but it can be delicious. And even we explain the difference between beef and fish. You know why the emission you are burning more emission with beef than fish. People do like fish, so again, it's not just giving you a piece of carrot like treat you as a rabbit. No, so but we don't do deep fried. But if client wants a piece of beef, we still give, but we just don't deep fry them. We do braise and we do slow cook method, so that the fire that we use is minimal, and we introduce those to the client. So that's really the second part. Then the last part is the offsetting. Now we work with Hong Kong Exchange, to allow donation for offsetting the emission. And there's a currency, there's a policy for that. Now, the reason why we say we are the only hotel or only hotel group doing that in Hong Kong, some offer consultancy, some offer a report, some claim the menu are low cooking, but none of them have a comprehensive throughout the journey, from consultancy, from report, from menu to the opportunity of offsetting. So you can actually claim your meeting as net zero meeting. And honestly, you feel good. Yes, it's not net zero. We know that you burn some, you kill some beef or you kill some fish or whatever, but because you do the offsetting, so you are considered being net zero. So in order to do that, you also get a certificate that you have a net zero meeting. So honestly, as much as people care about the environment, for a lot of companies these days, especially the listed ones, they do have some ESG goals to fulfill
True.
for their annual reports. So, it's a dual benefits. You help the environment, but you it also help your marketing. Let's just put it this way. So that's why I say it's really, really, really unique. It's very new to Asia and the Hong Kong market, but we are seeing increase. We have green meetings, quite a few green meetings every month. Now, I wouldn't tell you it's going to be hundreds like that. Some people they just don't bother. But we do have double digit. It never go to 300, double digit per month, 20, 30 across the group.
Something I liked when I attended a conference some time ago. Sometimes sustainability efforts are not so much visible to the customers, to the
Yes,
audience, to the
yeah,
guests. So
yes,
at one conference I attended, the GM at the end of the conference came up on stage and he presented all the metrics regarding the carbon emission of this specific.
really.
Yes. And
Wow.
actually, I say, wow, that is a very good point because this way you may make, visible all the
Right,
effort that the organizers have done and the hotel has done to
right.
reduce the carbon footprint of this event.
Yes,
That was very interesting.
yeah. So for
Oh,
us, we do it behind the scene from the beginning to the
yeah.
end. And to be honest, one last point. Unfortunately, we don't have as many, like I said, Western clients anymore. But in the old days, even just a few years ago, the first thing, and you know better than me, especially Europe, people from Europe, UK, the first thing they ask is, what is your sustainability policy when it comes to meetings? And unfortunately, like I said, we don't have as many business from that market anymore. But again, it's something that universally very, very care about. So we really want to talk about the green meetings, and it's really, I think this is also one of the reason why we become the best hotel in Hong Kong. Right.
Yeah,
Aside
indeed.
from everybody knows you don't serve with a plastic bottle. That was like 5, 10 years ago. But
Yeah,
we need to go much more than that.
true. Yeah, indeed. I mean, Europe is more sensitive sometimes in terms of
Yes,
sustainability measures
yes,
in
yes.
tourism, travel and
So
tourism.
that become a good benefit and a competitive edge for us.
But last but not least, as I see, you have joining the GHA Discover,
And
which is the Global Hotel Alliance loyalty
yes,
network. And I want to ask you, I mean, why you took this decision and how this network can help your brands and bring more
sure,
value to your brands.
sure. I think it's the perfect marriage. And I tell you why. You might know the Global Hotel Alliance quite well. I mean, they are particularly strong in Europe and in the Middle East, not so strong in US. Asia, it's coming up with Pan Pacific and with Marco Polo and Kempinski. They're quite prominent, and Anatara, of course, the minor group. Um, so I think it's the perfect marriage because without them, and I'll be very honest, it's very, very hard for Regal being, although we are the largest hotel operator in Hong Kong in terms of number of rooms, but it will be very, very difficult for us to step onto the global stage. So and 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 Global Hotel Alliance needs somebody like us, somebody who has big meeting space next to the airport and offering something very different to Marco Polo, which is part of the GHA for many years. The Marco Polo is in Tsim Sha Tsui. Now we do have a hotel in the Kowloon Tsim Sha Tsui shopping area, but then we have many more hotels across Hong Kong. So to GHA, it's a win-win. To us, it's a win-win. We have access to 28 million members overnight, and they are very strong in Europe and Middle East. And so, they are, I think, the largest independent alliance of independent hotels after all this Hyatt and Marriott and Hilton and IHG. So I think it's very, very good. And I think our offering it's equally good because we are like I said, I don't want to step down any hotel group like Marco Polo, but we are a hotel that is very even when you think about it. We have 12 locations across Hong Kong. All are the best location. They are either next to the airport or next to a subway within walking distance, all 12 of them. And I guess that's a trade-off of being established a little bit earlier. I wouldn't lie to you. It's a classic brand, and overall it's a 4.5 star group. You know that. So, but the trade-off and the good side to it, it's the location. It's all next to some sort of subway. Number two, I think, is the size of the room. Again, because we are a little bit more classic, just like our houses, right? If we buy a new house today, usually it's much smaller. But an older house, yes, you trade up for an older building, but you feel much more spacious. So the spacious of rooms, the location, the value of money, the proportion to, like I said, we were built for meeting hotels, for meetings. So, the proportion of the number of room upstairs and the size of the ballroom and the proportion of the number of twin beds, etc. And then our F&B offerings. We are very, very known for dining in Hong Kong because we have done banquet. So that's really the five, I would say, the unique kind of selling points of Regal and why it's a unique offering to the GHA. And that's really what I want to share with you today, Theodore.
Perfect. Thank you very much for all your thoughts and insights. The sustainability part, I think, for me at least, was very interesting.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to experience your meeting facilities. And thank you for being with me.